The video that you are about to watch is an excerpt of the original. After my long efforts in dealing with YouTube's copyright management system, I had to give up. I haven't given up my projects though. And while we cannot publish the entire video here due to the imminent danger of having the channel closed down, you can still enjoy excerpts which we've carefully chosen in order to make this video meaningful, fun, and educational. If you want to watch the complete video, including the sound of the music from the original recording, as well as special edition videos which will never be published here on YouTube due to the same copyright issues, and the Beatles 150 series, as well as other series and courses, you're welcome to visit my Ko-fi or Patreon page. I hope you enjoy this video. Hi everyone! Beatles again! And Vlad tells me this is the last song that I will be listening to on this Beatles for Sale album. So, a new album coming up soon. I guess this is number 37 in the series. Somehow in my mind I have this idea that 50, I'm waiting for 50. 50 is a big milestone marker in my mind, 1/3 of the way through. I'm not saying that I'm in a rush or impatient, meaning I'm not, what should I say? I'm not enjoying the process, but somehow I feel like I will be very pleased when I get to number 50. Tonight it is I Feel Fine. Let's see what I have to read about it. The official description of the genre is rock. Lennon wrote the song's guitar riff while the Beatles were in the studio recording 8 days a week in October 1964 and kept playing it between takes. He later recalled, "I told them I'd write a song especially for the riff, so they said, yes, you go away and do that." Maybe they were tired of hearing him play the riff in between takes when they're supposed to be doing 8 days a week. Who knows? So they said, yes, you go away and do that, knowing that we'd almost finished the album Beatles for Sale. Anyway, going into the studio one morning, I said to Ringo, "I've written this song, but it's lousy." But we tried it, complete with riff, and it sounded like an A-side. So we decided to release it just like that. The song John was describing above was I Feel Fine, which wound up ending 1964 with a great big bang. It spent 5 weeks at number 1 in Britain, and after their previous 3 American singles failed to crack the top 10, this song catapulted them back to number 1 on the American charts for 3 weeks. Even the single's B-side, She's a Woman, peaked at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100, which was their highest B-side charting yet. Nearly every future Beatles single released after this in the US during their career also made it to the top spot. Trend is starting, and this must have been, well, they didn't know it at the time, but this was the beginning of the top, apparently. Let's see what it sounds like. Was that a dog barking at the end? What a surprise! That is so different, and there's so much going on in there. Let's pull it apart. Okay, so a couple things. First of all, I think I have an idea what's going on here. It sounds like a little bit of playing around with some feedback in the amps and in the mic and something going on with it. There's something different about this. Now, just a very few numbers ago, I listened to one which used the first fade-in rock music history. Well, this doesn't say anything in the intro about this being a historical moment, but I kind of wonder if this might be another mile mark or another landmark in what's done in rock music, because I've never heard the Beatles use this before, and I suppose if it were being used somewhere, they probably would have done that. sounds very experimental. And then the way they get this other guitar coming in, it all has this kind of warped, almost exotic feel to it right from the beginning. It feels very otherworldly. Well, I know that they kind of got into Indian philosophy and sounds later in their career. I'm not sure that was really in their lives at this point, but something about it kind of feels a little bit like that style of experimentation and trying out those sounds and timbres. So, several questions I have here about this opening. Anyway, it's really cool. The way they bring that other one, and then it goes so nicely. The way they have transitioned to the riff. What a cute riff. Bum bum da da dum bum ba dum bum bum. And it features pretty prominently throughout the piece, doesn't it? Okay, another thing that I'm beginning to notice is a pattern in a lot of the Beatles songs. It's the way they layer the entrance of instruments. It seems like they're really tending towards a single instrument or a single voice, something very light and clear to open a piece. Sometimes it's without an intro, sometimes it's with an intro, sometimes it's just a pickup of a few notes with John's voice or something, and then everybody comes in. Other times, quite often, we have something like this, where first the bass comes in, then the guitar, and then another guitar, and then we're moving through keys here, where this riff is not just being That's another thing I noticed, is that they're not just driving it home in one location. It's more like it's climbing around and taking us somewhere where we finally arrive. So it starts. Let's see if I can do this on the harp. Yeah, it sounds a bit different on the harp, but it'll work. So we have, I'll need an F sharp. Okay, I could play it an octave lower, it might sound more familiar there. And then at that point, we might expect it to do the same thing over again. We could simply go, oopsie. But instead, we are moved to a different location. Well, it's hard for me to reach down there with this arm, so I'm going to start back up here again. We're on this one. And then we move down. And this is a different location, kind of a different key center almost. We need an F natural. It goes from D, which was here, and then it moves down just a step. But here we have to get rid of the F sharp, we have to add a B flat. Or something like that. Let's see. Okay, and then we have to move yet again. And this time we move down to G. And then we kind of settle there because we hear it again. And that's the moment at which the drums come clattering in, and then the verse enters and we are settled there. But I like the way it kind of climbs around and takes us here, here, here. Now everybody enters. Well, not all at once. the guitars have entered, now the drums enter, now the voice enters, and now we're on a roll. So many interesting details packed into this kind of short, it's just a few seconds. Speaking of style, musical style, I know this is classed as rock, but it sounds like it's got a bit of a Latin influence to it. So we have this kind of exotic, pseudo-Indian sound at the beginning, and then we fall into a more Latin style rhythm with the drums, even the way the guitars are playing. And then suddenly, the chorus. This happens really fast. Everything is short and compact. Baby's good to me, she's happy as can be, she said so. And then we barely get into that, and suddenly, I'm in love with her and I feel fine, whatever the notes are. I only heard it once, I kind of forgot it. And it switches from solo voice to chorus, and all of this, there's this feeling of real activity behind the voices. This riff is a very dynamic, rhythmically busy riff. And then we kind of have the drums. Okay, they're doing their fun little rhythms too, but it all is kind of swirling together, and we feel like everybody is kind of playing around with the riff rhythmically, one way or another. They're kind of playing off of each other a bit. And so maybe it gives me the impression of, when you walk into a room where there are lots of people and there's a lot of activity and conversation, talking, kids running everywhere, people laughing. It's kind of a party atmosphere. I feel like the music is this sort of party in its own right. It's like the music is the party. And then the song is set over that musical party. And the bass, it's doing this bum, 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 adding to this whole party. And really, I have to say, something about it feels Latin to me. Latin style music. And at the same time, I'm noticing we still have, we don't have a lot of adventurous harmonies here. I'm in love with her and I feel fine is probably the most harmonically adventurous, which isn't that much. What do we have here? We have a C natural, so we have this little hint of chromaticism. And then it drops to a B flat. That's about it, really. Nothing outstanding here. Okay, there's this F natural, which is happening here as well, which is happening at the same moment. So it's a harmony moment as we kind of slide down the scale there. I'm in love with her and I feel fine. But underneath it, I can't say that the chords are anything grand. In fact, looking through here, most of the music sits on 1, 5, 1, 4. It's almost a straight 1, 4, and 5 piece of music, just maybe 1 or 2 other chords thrown in, which is interesting because we know that the blues music, the blues style, relies on just those 3 chords. Plenty of other music does too. But just putting all the different styles together. Well, we have this flat 7 in here, which is the F natural, which, no. What am I saying? This is in the key of D. So we have a C natural, which is the flat 7. This C natural here. This F natural is just an extra coloring note. So it's almost as if we have a little bit of blues, a little bit of Latin, a little bit of, at least in the intro, a little bit of imaginary Indian something, and all of it's just piling in here. You could say a piece of music that kind of musically celebrates diversity, doesn't it? As a party, you know, everybody together having a grand time. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what your background. Just come on, let's have fun.
You know, she tells me all the time, you know,
I know why I was confused about the key, because it's written in with F sharp and C sharp, but the verse really sits in the key of G. So the flat 7 in the verse is going to be the F natural. So when I was in this chorus section, got a bit disoriented for a moment because they shift a bit. It's okay.
she's telling all the world.
And the way the voice transitions us to this sort of instrumental solo part with that little ooh, just a little hint of it. It's kind of buried in there.
She's in love with me.
You hear? He goes ooh, and then the guitar goes ooh doo. It's as if it's taking his little line and taking over. Nice little touch there.
She's in love with me.
Here is where it really starts sounding like we have a lot of people doing the same thing. Well, let's get technical about it for a minute. Basically, what's happening is we have different instruments playing around with the same riff idea. Kind of conversationally, kind of echoing each other a bit. Because we have this bum bum da 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 bum 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 ba dum, which is happening here. That's what's been going on all the time. But what's happening down here is a sort of offset echo of it. Let's see if I can pull it out for you. Well, here actually they're both playing the same thing. So they double each other. But what is this happening here? This, let me clear out a few of my scribblings so we can really see what's going on here on the paper. Dum bum, da dum dum, dee 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 dee. So they've taken this da da dum bum. Now it has gone over here, kind of offset a bit. So we have these notes, which are bum bum dum bum, kind of like this part here, dum bum ba da dum. Again, not a perfect mimicry, but playing around enough with the same rhythmic ideas and kind of the same melodic shape in a different order. Bum bum da dum dum da 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 dum bum bum da dum da dum ba da 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 dum, and then together. It gives this kind of as if they are weaving this together back and forth and passing it around effect. And then when the drums come in, he's kind of doing the same rhythm. Bum da da, bum da da, dum dum da 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 da. And so it feels like the whole band has taken this little riff and they each play it almost canonically in round form. That's not literally what's happening, but that's what feels like is happening. That's what sounds like it, because there's so much happening pulled from that riff material and offset a bit or spoken here and then there, that it gives us very much everybody chasing everybody else and going after the other one. Chorus plus ooh, and this augmenting of the melodic rhythm. So instead of dum bum 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 ba da da dum, now it's I'm so glad that she's my little girl. Really emphasizing I'm so glad, and then she's so glad. It's really a celebratory piece, isn't it?
She's my little girl.
I feel like they've reverted to their teenage kids fooling around, having a blast, even with the lyrics, with the song. It's all about, I feel fine, everything is perfect, I see the world through rose-colored glasses. There's nothing. We've been getting into some more, I don't know if I should say realistic, because these kinds of emotions are also very realistic and that they are a real experience, part of one's life. But then we hit some bumps in the road and we have some hard knocks, and suddenly we realize that it doesn't always work out the way we dream it would, and our eyes open a bit to the unpleasant side of life from time to time. And they have been showing this maturing element, that they are growing up, they are experiencing these things, and not only are they experiencing them, they're learning to share their experience. That is also a maturing process. But here we are back to this. Woof, woof. After I feel fine, whatever, let me just bark like a dog. Let's just, goof around. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. And not only is it a lot of fun, but it's that kind of fun and embracing the joyous side of life and the passionately happy side of life with a more developed musical approach. This is so much more than she loves you, she loves me. I always forget which one it is. Yeah. She loves you, yeah. Blood says it's you. So instead of just she loves you, yeah, it is now this swirling around of the riff, this twang, resonance, feedback, something or other at the opening, this incredibly dynamic and well woven ensemble texture behind the voice. And the harmonies are simple, but even the vocal part, it has a very nice melodic shape, and the balance of solo voice with chorus. There was a bit of switching. Sometimes it's solo voice and then the chorus joins, and other times it's the chorus all together and then the solo voice finishes. You can confirm that or deny it for me. But those little subtle details of how to balance the weight of the music, how to balance the weight of the song, lyrics, melody, instruments, where to place the augmented rhythms so that we get a lot of emphasis on those few words. I'm so glad that she's my little girl. She's so glad. That's not purely accidental. It may be very instinctive, because I don't pretend that they went to school and learned this in some sort of academic setting. They basically went to school and learned this in a very practical manner, and it shows, and we feel it and we hear it, and so we have this wonderful throwback to their early innocent days with this more refined musical approach. And that's one of the things that I think makes it feel so incredibly joyous and together at the same time. Well, this is what rounds out my experience of the Beatles for Sale album, at least for the time being. And I have to say that I have really enjoyed these last several songs, where I'm finding more detail, more interest, more sophistication, more musical content, which is really fun to take hold of and explore. I don't know what album is coming next, but which one is it?
Help.
Help.
I need somebody.
I need somebody. You need somebody. Or I need somebody. What is it? Help. Which one is it?
Help.
Help.
I need somebody.
I need somebody. You need somebody. Or I need somebody. What is it? Help. Help it is. Help what? Help me? Help you? We'll find out. I'll see you soon.